Here are some books that I didn't think I'd like or I was scared of reading that I actually loved. First up, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was my first foray into literary fiction. This was back when I was still mostly a fantasy reader, so then I was reading the premise of this and I was like, Hollywood star set in our real world, that doesn't sound really interesting, but again, first literary fiction book, I absolutely loved it. The plot twist at the end totally got me, and I just found every aspect of Evelyn's story and Monique's character and just everything in the book so fascinating. Next, we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This was again the first foray into dark academia I've had. When I first read the back, I was like, secret societies at Yale doing sketchy things, that sounds kind of dumb. But then I read it, and then again, I absolutely loved it. I loved the allure of the dark version of Yale that Leigh Bardugo came up with, of the past present timeline where we get to learn more and more about our protagonist Alex while she goes through the confusing things going on at Yale and the secret societies. And this book was just so interesting. Highly recommend. Following the dark academia trend, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. This originally I was extremely intimidated by because I know that Kuang writes a lot of social commentary into her books, and I was scared that it would take away from the overall enjoyment of reading the story. And I also know that she writes really dark books because I previously read the first two books of the Poppy War series, and those got so dark, and I was kind of scared to read this one. I've also heard some people say that it starts out really slow, but I didn't have that experience. The moment I started reading, I was immediately enthralled by the plot, by the characters. While there is a lot of social commentary in the book, I don't think it takes away from the experience of reading it at all. She develops, all of her characters are so nuanced. Her commentary on revolution, rebellion is, again, every character has different perspectives and you can see where they're all coming from, and it's just so interesting to read about. I love this book. This is, I think, my favorite book of the year so far. Finally, we have The Light Eaters, which I was again intimidated by because it is my first nonfiction book. It's a nonfiction book about plants, and while I love biology, I was like, there's no way I'll be interested by a 300-page book about plants, right? But this book was so interesting. I learned so much about plant communication, plant development, and there's just so much nuance about plants that I've never thought of before, and it's such an interesting read.